Good morning, and welcome to the Pinellas County Board of Adjustments and Appeals. We have received your cases in advance and have studied them, and in some cases, visited the site. Please understand that we don't bring these cases. We are citizens tasked with weighing the evidence submitted in order to make the most informed decision possible. We have no personal interest or stake in these cases except for the overall good of the community. The staff has made a recommendation on each case, and that recommendation is input only and may not be the opinion of this board. If you are planning to speak for or against an application, you must be sworn in prior to testifying. If you have not been sworn in, please do so now with the clerk at the front right table. This is how we will proceed. When your case is called by staff, the applicant should come right to the podium and give us your name and address. The applicant will then present their case, including comments for any supporters in attendance. Comments by supporters should be new information, not just an expression of support. The applicant may display the volume of support by a show of hands. Speakers will have 3 minutes. Opponents will then be given an opportunity to state their objection. If there are numerous opponents, it is preferable for them to select 1 or 2 spokespersons, and speakers will have 3 minutes, but if you give up your time, I will give some additional time. Subsequent objectors should add new information, not just what we've already heard, not just rehash prior stated objections. Opponents also may display the volume of objectors by a show of hands. This will be the only opportunity for opponents to state their side. The applicant will then return solely to rebut the comments of any opponents and may not bring any new information or testimony at that time. Finally, we will close the public hearing and the board will discuss the case, make a motion, and vote. Our attorney will now provide additional information on our procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The matters heard by the Board of Adjustment and Appeals are quasi-judicial in nature. Please note that only competent, substantial, fact-based testimony or evidence may be considered by the board in deciding the matters before it. Pure speculation or opinion, not based on competent facts, cannot be legally considered by the board. Lay testimony with fact-based support, including but not limited to meeting minutes, surveys, engineering reports, etc., may be considered competent and substantial evidence. Thank you, sir.
With that, Mr. Bailey, let's call the first case.
First case, case number TY2-2308. This is the Jewish Burial Society of Pinellas County Incorporated. It's a modification of a previously approved Type 2 use to allow 877.5 square foot office building for a cemetery in an RA zone. The property located at 12905 Wild Acres Road in unincorporated Largo. Recommendations, conditional approval. This is simply replacing the original office structure with a bigger one at the same location.
Okay, before you begin, is there anyone here today wishing to speak in objection to this application? Thank you. Could you give us your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Doug Negretti. I live at 9763 134th Way, Seminole, Florida, 33776. I am the chairman of the Jewish Burial Society of Pinellas County, Chapel Hill Cemetery.
Okay, wait 1 second.
Okay, sure. Based on the findings of fact as outlined in the staff report, and the fact that there's no objectors, I make a motion for conditional approval.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much for hearing me today.
That may be a new record.
Excellent presentation.
Nice presentation.
They're not all that good.
Next is case number VAR 2312, Mina Boutros. This is a request of the variance to allow for construction of a 1,325 square foot attached accessory dwelling unit where 750 square feet is the maximum permitted for property located at 1511 Colony Court in Palm Harbor. Recommendation is denial. There's simply no special conditions related to the property or unnecessary hardship. The request is not the minimum variance necessary. This is a case where we have another accessory dwelling unit where they want to have an extended family live in the same, basically same residence, and with 2 kitchens, and it's the proposed 1-bedroom, 1,325 square foot accessory dwelling unit exceeds the maximum size normally allowed per code, which is 750 square feet by 750 575 square feet, approximately 76% higher. That's just really, there's no, again, no special conditions or circumstances peculiar to the land, and this is a self-created hardship.
Could you give us your name and address, please?
Yes, sir. My name is Lillian Boutros. My husband's name is Nina Boutros, and
It's best to stand kind of right in the middle there.
right
Yeah,
here.
I can
You
hear very
me
well.
well? Okay. Our address is 1511 Colony Court, Palm Harbor, Florida 34683.
Okay.
So just really brief, since I only have 3 minutes.
No, you've got more time. You're the
I do.
applicant. It was-
Okay.
20 minutes, I think.
Oh, okay, good. If you don't mind, I'll read some of my notes so I can be succinct. I'm a licensed architect in the state of Florida. I specialize in healthcare architecture. I've been doing that for the past 9 years. So basically, my bread and butter is designing and planning hospitals and freestanding emergency departments. Well-versed in building codes. And just to tell you a little bit about us, we have 2 children, plus 1 on the way. We have a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. We began the planning for the expansion of our house earlier this year, after my parents-in-law moved with us. They're here from Egypt, and they are U.S. residents. They've been living with us for the past 1.5 years, and they help us with our children. All of us live in a 1,200 square foot home, which gets to be tight, of course. And we wanted to better accommodate my parents-in-law and have a more comfortable space for them. We've always admired the idea of multi-generational living, and we feel blessed by my parents-in-law and that we can provide that for our children. Our plan for the expansion project was to provide my parents-in-law a separate area in the house with their own dedicated kitchen to give them autonomy. We had initial conversations with Pinellas County Zoning Department early on, and we were told that by adding a second kitchen, that would put us under the category of accessory dwelling unit. So we would have to comply with those requirements for accessory dwelling units. Our floor plan is designed so that the dedicated space for my parents-in-law is on the 2nd story. I don't know if you have the floor plans, but I do have additional ones here if you would like to see. May I pass them? You can pass them, you know.
You want to use one of them for your conversation now?
Sure.
It's okay, I don't-
Just as an advice to the applicant, if something gets submitted to the board clerk, the clerk has to keep that for the record.
Okay,
So make sure,
that's
anything you
fine.
give to the clerk, just make sure you have your own copy.
Got it, okay, understood. So on the second page of that, those floor plans, you'll see our floor plan is designed so that the 2nd story is dedicated for my parents-in-law. The space is pretty minimalist. It includes 1 bedroom with a bathroom, a small laundry area. It includes a living, dining, and kitchen kind of combined space. And then we have an additional bedroom in there for a future caregiver for when my parents-in-law are more elderly. We plan for 5-foot wide hallways, and all the spaces have been made to be ADA accessible. So this all puts us at 1,325 square feet. To just review quickly the requirements of an accessory dwelling unit, it requires a maximum of 750 square feet. The median square foot living space per person in the United States is 700 square feet. That's per person. Some other research and statistics that we looked at show that 700 square feet per person contributes to overall well-being and good quality of life. So a 700 square foot maximum for 2 people, much less with an additional caregiver in the future, is not quite adequate. We worked with Pinellas County Building and Construction over the past few months, and they've assisted us with really kind of making this into being as close as possible to an accessory dwelling unit. We added a separate entrance, for example, which we really didn't need. And we reduced our overall original square footage by about 300 square feet. An accessory dwelling unit is not really our intent. As I mentioned, we want to live in a multi-generational home. If you look at our floor plan, the unit is not detached from our primary residence. It is attached with actually access to the 2nd floor from our living room, from our living area in our primary residence. So our request for a variance is really for a second kitchen. Under the rules of the accessory dwelling units, A space is considered a kitchen if it has all of the following three components: a cooktop, a fridge, and a sink. We have received some contradicting information from Pinellas County zoning telling us that if it looks like a kitchen, then it is a kitchen, whether it has those three components or not. So we first considered, well, maybe we just do a kitchen without a stovetop. But they mentioned that that would still be considered a kitchen. The kitchen component is really important culturally to my parents-in-law, so we wouldn't want them to be inconvenienced by having to come downstairs to use our kitchen. So that's why we've gone through this process to get a variance. We have collected support from our neighborhood and have also received approval from our homeowners association. I do have those documents as well. Our neighbors have seen my parents-in-law with our children just around the neighborhood playing and going on walks, so they're very familiar with our family. And just lastly, one more thing. We understand that variances are looked at on a case-by-case basis, but in looking at historical data, we found that variance 23-08, which was from May 3rd, 2023, where the meeting minutes from that hearing stated that the variance request was for 1,124 square feet, and it was an attached accessory dwelling unit. The nature of their proposal was related to the caretaking of their handicapped elders. The variance was ultimately approved based on the fact that the code has consistently been interpreted that accessory structures are separate buildings on the property, and since their proposed addition was not a separate structure but part of the residence, the variance was ultimately approved. And similar to their case, where we are suggesting that our hardship is really the code in itself, giving us the hardship, not really the actual property.
Let's not go with that. If you guys don't mind, I
Thank
have
you.
a few questions
Yes.
for Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
Mr. Bailey, first off, she read that, but what constitutes a kitchen? In other,
Stove is clearly a stove. That's what the answer is. If it's got a stove, it's a kitchen.
okay, in other, and again, this is Pinellas County.
Yes.
Sometimes a kitchen, if it doesn't include an oven, is,
An oven, the connection for a range is what constitutes and makes it.
so if
a
there's no
second.
oven, it's just a cooktop and it would not be a kitchen. Is that correct?
That's correct. And that's what was,
That's one question.
that's the DRC.
Why is this not just an expansion to the house? I mean, it's attached.
Because the second kitchen constitutes another unit,
So it's just
another
all about the
dwelling unit.
kitchen.
It's essentially a duplex.
Okay, so got that one. I mean, I've seen numerous houses that I know that some people who are a lot wealthier than me have catering kitchens, in their homes, and those are allowed. And they're separate. I mean, they have huge catering kitchens, they call them, and those have been allowed. Is there a difference?
I'm not aware of the catering kitchens.
Oh, so maybe I shouldn't be telling you that. Okay.
I mean, if it's, we have zoning districts that allow
Is there anybody
duplex.
here in opposition to this?
Okay, so we'll get into it in a minute, but, okay, so thank you. Anybody else have any other questions?
Mr. Bailey, but for the kitchen, would the applicant be here?
No.
So I have, the kitchen is the oven, stove, is it the size, the function, or the electrical connection, or all of that?
It's the oven is what makes it a kitchen.
If they didn't have an oven,
So the sink, yes, and all that stuff, but if you didn't have the oven, it would
So
not
a
be
long
considered
extension
full
cord
kitchen.
from the other kitchen.
A
like it.
unusually large toaster oven is an oven, or it is not an oven?
Connection for a range,
What's a range connection?
Okay.
the three-prong thing.
20 outlet.
220.
Yes.
Right, so the electrical service connection is, I
Is
think,
the-
it's the
linchpin.
easiest way for
Yes.
the county to assess what's going on, what it is versus what it isn't. It takes a much higher.
Got it.
I think you said the wattage correctly, it's a much higher service connection.
well, thank you. Let's hear from objectors. Please.
Is anybody here in favor of this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I've got to interject on one thing that the applicant said, because it got said in that earlier hearing that I did warn could be used as a precedent on this board, which is they just say the code is the hardship. That is absolutely never the case in front of this board. It is the specific circumstances of the property. The code is not the hardship. The code can be adjusted legislatively by the Board of County Commissioners. through the county code, but it is not itself, it cannot be cited as simply the hardship with no other specificity to the parcel as enumerated by the county, so.
Thank you.
Question, Ted. I'd like to ask a question.
I want to ask a question, too.
You want to go first?
No, go ahead.
You go first.
You go ahead. I just wanted to ask the applicant, because you talked about a stovetop or the range or whatever. You said a couple different things. So what are
Yeah.
you willing to compromise on, I guess? I just wanted to know that.
Well, I guess we would hope to have everything. It was a cooktop, a fridge, and a sink. So we would hope to give my parents-in-law, a full functioning kitchen.
I mean, what you're hearing now is the only thing that.
The only thing is holding
is the
is the
oven.
oven.
The oven.
So let's keep going.
Yeah, my question is, so it's, what, 1,100 square feet you're trying to build?
1325.
So if 600 square feet of this was attributed to the house, and then they built 750 on top, I mean, would that be allowed? If they added on 600 square feet to the house,
Of course,
and then they said, okay, we're gonna add another 750 square feet?
as long as it doesn't have a kitchen.
Well, no, could they add the 750 if it had a kitchen?
With a kitchen.
Correct.
But, so they could add the 650, and then come back behind and add another 750?
You have to look at the layout of the house.
Yeah,
and
I'm
how
just saying,
connections are,
it
but
just seems.
It's plausible, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
can, excuse me, can a stovetop alone be accomplished without the oven and not have to have the 220?
You probably know that answer. Could we do a stovetop without needing that range,
Right.
connection?
I wouldn't know. Like, if it.
Does anyone know?
I don't know
Do you
if
know
it-
that, Joe? Can you just have a stovetop? There doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
that's-
220
that's where I was
without an
going.
oven?
Again, the electrical is, when we do this in other jurisdictions, the electrical never comes up. That's never been,
Right.
I've never heard that
Right.
till today. It always comes down to the oven, and that's it. That's, the Clearwater Code's very clear on that. So,
Let's,
I'll look it up.
let's hear from the,
well, wait, let's make sure everybody's, questions? John?
Everybody, okay. I think you're probably detecting some sympathy for your position, because what you're trying to do is a good thing, multi-generational. Taking care of your parents, all those things are good things, and we want people to do that. But we're faced with a code that's been adopted by the Board of County Commissioners. And that code says that we can grant these variances according to certain criteria. And one of the criteria is special conditions of the property, and there aren't any.
Right, correct.
And one of the other conditions is that there's an unnecessary hardship imposed by the property itself, not by the code. And I'm waiting for you, as an architect and a professional, to give me some basis for concluding that there is in fact special conditions, there is in fact unnecessary hardship according to our code. And unfortunately, I've heard all the good reasons for why you should be able to do it, but none of them are code provisions. They're just, it's a good thing to do. And the code doesn't say, except if it's a good thing to do.
Yeah,
That's not in the
understood.
code anywhere.
Understood.
Can you help me?
Our property has no special problems that are causing this to be an actual variance request. I guess,
well, let me ask you this question. If your lot lines weren't there, and you could just build farther, but you have to build this to build that, correct?
Yes.
So your
Yes.
space, your lot lines, and your space does not allow you to just build that, because you have to build what's gonna go on it, so.
That could be,
yeah,
So-
we never considered just doing the one-story only expansion.
Yeah, because,
but-
well, it doesn't look like you have enough room based on your,
yeah.
Yeah, because right now, when we expand off to the side, it's right against the easement.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be able to expand.
it's because
it.
you live on a corner?
Right.
So if I would answer that, it's like, if we have the lot size where we can keep our parents-in-law in the first floor, we would absolutely do that and keep it that way. So we could be saying not having enough in our property lot line or size cannot make us put that 1,000 or 1,300 square feet with us in the first floor in order to accommodate the second kitchen. But would that be possible as well? I mean, at this point, we wouldn't even need the second kitchen because we can have our parents use the same kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
To summarize, it's all about the kitchen.
It's all about the stove.
If you can, and it's
Yes,
all, it's
yes.
not just about the kitchen, it's about an oven.
And
An
people
oven,
eat.
yes.
Mm.
Like
people eat.
if it was, if, this is where I was afraid. It's like, you know, like most people kind of like would go and do the addition and kind of take the stove off and then maybe ask later for, hey, can we add a stove because now my parent cannot keep going up and down. We're upfront with what we think about what problem might have in the future of that being, you know, we're not gonna put my parents there and having my parents coming up and down every time they wanna use a stove or heat something. And here's the thing, like, people would let you have a microwave, which is, studies show that it's so bad for you. But like, you know, a stove is just a heating element to something or cooking something. It's like, we still trying to accommodate our parent to live kind of dignity by them having their own space. And by code, we 100% can do that, but without the stove. So it's like, you know, like if you guys deny it, we'll go and do it without the stove. And it's a function that my family needs, that we apply for hardship for it and got denied. So it's
Okay.
that's how I see
The
it. Sorry.
problem is you're talking to the wrong people.
Sorry.
There would be 7 people up here that you could talk to, but it's not us. It's the Board of County Commissioners. And they're the ones who adopted the code. All we do is implement it and try to find ways to accommodate what you want to do with the code that's been established. And we're struggling to find something to do. And essentially what I'm hearing is that the only thing you can do is to give up the oven. Is that more or less accurate?
Correct. That's the way the code is now. We are going to look at
And that's the way it is in
dwelling
other
unit section,
jurisdictions
but
as well.
for now, it's what it is.
And we're not addressing what somebody might do in the future.
Why don't we
We're
do
here
this?
today, talking about what you can do today.
Understood.
But can I say something? When all this started is by me making a phone call. And I said, can I have cabinet, upper cabinet, lower cabinet? And they said this, if it looked like a kitchen, it's a kitchen. Even if you don't have the stove, we don't care. That's how I got the response.
And I'm telling you, it's an oven.
I mean, what I'm
I
saying,
mean,
like.
I understand, and whoever
oven.
told you that, I apologize.
Okay,
I
so.
apologize.
Okay.
All right.
Let us hear from your objectors, and you'll have another chance at this.
Okay, thank you
can
so
come back
much.
and rebut in a little bit.
Thank
Can we hear from any objectors to this, please? Just come forward, give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Steve Weber, 1438 Stonehenge Way.
Kind of stand in the middle there, please.
1348 Stonehenge Way, Palm Harbor, Florida. I'm the president of the Board of Associations for Country Meadows. And I just
This
had
is
a
where
couple-
this is in Country Meadows.
Yes, just have a couple concerns because they want to go more of what our 750 allows for zoning for the additional adding on the house. Our bylaw states 750 is the maximum permitted for the property. I'm a little confused because you're talking about a kitchen. I thought this was about making the house bigger.
Sir, what are you citing to when you say bylaws?
A lot of the neighbors concerned it's going to be so big.
Right, but you cite to, and the county can't enforce development deed restrictions or bylaws. That's not what we
Right,
do
got
here.
that, but I thought that was what this hearing was about because they want to try to change them because if they do it, everyone else is going to want to do it. Other people are going to want to do it. I thought it was just a hearing on that.
So, yeah, there's maybe 2 things going on here. It sounds like there's a subdivision, there's restrictions, deed restrictions in a subdivision, which this board can't touch. That's a civil issue, that's a court issue.
Right.
What this board does is enforce the land development regulations, which
Okay.
is what Glenn
I
and
I've
I are
actually
talking
seen
about
the
here
zoning
today.
hearing, that's what I thought it was about.
Yeah,
Because the
well-
letter stated they wanted it's going to be 2,600 square feet. And when they submitted the paperwork to the board, they did put 2,600 square feet, but they didn't say they want to change our laws, our bylaws.
And you keep using the term bylaws,
Our
and that's
firm,
where I'm,
your firm.
are you talking about the county's laws?
No,
Are you
our
talking about?
subdivisions laws.
Yeah, this board doesn't get
Okay.
involved in
That
those.
is-
Yeah, you'll have to deal with that within your community.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
No, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in objection to this? Well, let me have the applicant back up and
Check online.
that is not an issue. That issue he just spoke is not us, so that's,
Right.
you don't have to address.
And we actually, I apologize, go ahead.
So when you first spoke, you said you talked to the homeowner association?
Yeah, I actually, I'm confused because I actually have a signed agreement or approval from Mr. Weber himself.
That's in our stuff.
Which we had, which we had provided them, like the homeowners association and the management team, we had provided them with floor plans to look at. We also met with one of the homeowners association board
None of
members.
this is the subject matter of this
Yeah, but-
board. None of this is the subject matter.
We have it in our packet.
No, I know, I just wanted to,
Again, that's
I
not,
asked a
that's not us.
question, but it's just, it's not
Yeah,
something we
I
can make
just-
a
that's all I
Yeah,
had to
that's,
Board can make a decision.
you handle that with your homeowners association. All right, let's, is there anything else? I mean, it's a one issue
Yeah,
thing,
I don't
guess.
think there's anything else. I know this doesn't. I know
Floor
this-
plan?
What was that?
Floor plan?
You want the floor plan?
I do, because I'm going to talk about it. No, right there.
Oh, you want it right there?
Yeah,
Okay.
take that other thing off to the side.
Second floor?
Oh, is this part of
So
the
this
new
is the actual
construction?
accessory dwelling, is the second floor.
that's the second floor.
Okay. On the first page. The one-car garage is in yellow. Is that part of the 1,300 square feet that we're talking about?
Nope. The
Thank you. I just
1,300
need-
square feet is just the
And what
second
about the
floor.
stairwell? Is that part of the 1,300 square feet?
It is not.
Okay,
It is not.
okay.
If you
Thank
can turn back to page 3 real quick. Just want to clarify. See the balcony? The balcony up on the, that is not calculated because it's not conditioned
Correct.
space. So everything besides the balcony there is
Okay.
13.
Okay. All right, well then, let us talk about it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'm going to close the public hearing and open it up for discussion, board discussion.
Hey, there are some stoves available that do run on 115. So we wouldn't require the 120, if that were the case.
I don't live in a fancy house. My in-laws do, and they have 2 ovens in the same building, and
Well,
I just-
now you're ratting on your in-laws.
yeah. No, I think it's a double oven, you know? It's,
But,
you know.
I mean, that's all I have to offer there. There are
Yeah,
stoves
no.
available that wouldn't,
I-
It's its function as an oven. Usually, again, there are exceptions to everything, but usually the electrical service is indicative of needing that to make the range heat and everything. However, it's not absolute, to your point. So if you have an oven door and you're sliding something in and out, it's not just the cooktop.
Sure.
That's the trigger. The
Yeah,
physical
no.
trigger. If the electrical service, if there are variations out there, I'm certainly no appliance expert, but what the code says is if you've got a cooking oven in there, it's considered a double kitchen.
What?
again, my suggestion would be just to go without the oven if possible, and just a stovetop, and then that'd be in compliance, am I correct?
That's been the discussion and
mean,
understanding on this board.
That's the only issue.
Okay, good.
I see this as 2 different things. I see this as they're building some for themselves, for their immediate family. And then the second floor, which is probably about 750 square feet for the, and I see this as 2 different purposes of what they're building here. Like the upstairs is for their in-laws, where if it was 750 square feet, they could have this oven, And the rest is they're expanding their house.
Is that correct?
The top floor, the ADU, is 1,300 and whatever square feet. The top floor is that's what it is.
Question is,
So how much is the top floor?
1,300.
The top floor is 13.
Yes.
the question is not the size. The question, what he's asking, is if this was only a 750 square foot addition, it could have an oven?
If the accessory dwelling unit space was 750 square feet or less, they could have an oven. It's the
Okay.
fact that it's so large.
Why is there why is 750 a number?
It was 500 until,
Why would there be a number?
because you have to have a primary use. This zoning district allows 1 single-family home. That's it. It doesn't allow a duplex. It doesn't allow 2. Whether attached or detached, but the accessory dwelling unit regulations allows like a mother-in-law suite or accessory apartment, but it's got to be clearly incidental to the primary. So where the decision was made that 750 square feet is a reasonable size for an accessory dwelling unit, a garden apartment, a mother-in-law suite, something like that. Now, we are looking at those regulations to change the ADU regulations, but right now that's what's in the code. And We may increase that from 750, but right now, that's what it is. We may look at having 2 kitchens like this in certain instances
And we've
to
seen, like-
recognize multi-generational households, but right now, it's not in there.
So let me follow up on that. If the applicant made their own decision to simply walk away today and come back to get a permit to build what they want to build, but only have a stovetop and not have a 220 outlet, and we change the code, the Board of County Commissioners changed the code to allow a larger thing, could they come back later and get a permit for an oven?
Yes.
Okay. And if that were the case, we don't have anything to approve today.
Correct. I mean, they could come if they're, right, depending on how the regulations change, that's an if. If they did, then they could be a type 1 use, they could come get permits, they wouldn't have to come here at all.
I understand the sympathy for
Right.
what they're trying to do, seriously. What you're trying to do is a good thing. But there's a code, and this is not a legislative body. We don't make the law. All we do is try to find a way to accommodate your desires with the code that exists. And the code that exists doesn't give us, in my opinion, the leeway to do what you want to do, as sympathetic as I might be to what you want to do. And so I'm trying to find a solution for today. And we have a recommendation from staff for denial. I'd rather not do a denial, but I can't bring myself to make a motion for approval. And so one of the other options would be for us to continue this for a while, but that doesn't really, that wouldn't prevent you from going in and filing for a building permit to do what you want, except for the 220 outlet for an oven. You understand what I'm saying? Does everybody else understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I just, you know.
I know what, I get it.
Let me state one thing here. And Mr. Duran is correct. We have a code, but we are the Code Adjustment Board. So that's, we have that to
Discretion.
consider. So in certain cases, that is allowable. But again, I think the biggest problem we have here, we have 2 problems. One, there's no apparent hardship, but 2 is the oven. So, Ms. White?
I understand what Mr. Duran is saying. I sympathize greatly with them because it seems sort of ridiculous, but we have to go by the code. And I know. You want me to make a motion?
No, we got more.
No, again, as I stated before, and this was clarified through staff, that as long as there's no oven door and no oven, and the stovetop, if that would suffice, I'd be willing to make a motion with that, with that
We
in
don't need a
mind.
motion if that's the case.
Yeah, if that's the case, you would not need a motion.
Okay, well,
So does the addition have a separate entrance?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Yeah, we added one after our first DRC meeting.
Got it. And part of the reason for the overall code of not having duplexes was for rentals and that sort. So is this just thinking forward, as with the last case, was there a condition placed on that additional dwelling that future renting was not an option?
I don't recall if that was one of the conditions, but you could certainly place that on there.
So no,
I think that that's part of what the concern could be in the neighborhood, because then everyone could pop up a 750-foot.
You would change, yeah, you would be changing a single-family district to a duplex district, and you could have double
Right.
density,
But
basically.
the door eliminates that.
Separate entrance door?
The reason there's a separate entrance is because that is required for an ADU. That's the only way to get to this position.
Got it. So that triggers the potential for the domino effect within the community. So I think that we,
Right.
I just want to bring it up as a point, to something we should consider,
You
whichever
have
direction we
placed
go.
conditions such as that in the past. I can't recall if it's specifically that case you were talking about.
so no house can have a catering kitchen as,
I don't know of any caterers.
Not if it's more
or
than,
no house can have a second kitchen.
not if it's more than 750.
That is correct.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Can I ask a question? if we eliminated
Building a
that
house, you build a 5,000.
entrance, separate entrance for it, would it have been more a problem or
It'd be more of a problem because you wouldn't even have the option for a variance. It would not be considered it would be considered, you just can't have a second kitchen.
If I were to build a house today, 5,000 square feet, I couldn't put a second kitchen there?
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let us continue our discussions here.
Brian got
Uh,
something.
We,
What's
I'm
the
waiting on a-
square footage of the first floor? I mean, they're adding this on.
He just answered my
then
question.
this
Your
is
your
13.
question, Mr. Bello, you did put that condition on there to
We did
get
add
out
it.
you rented, yes.
Right, and that was in the spirit of protecting the code in the neighborhood.
Correct.
Got it. All right, thank you.
So if we just go with a stovetop, then we don't have, we do nothing, is that what you're saying?
we're voting on an oven.
I know,
That's what we're voting on.
I know.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
What conditions?
Yeah, one conditions on that.
As stated?
At
I
least
need
the,
Alan for that. Where's Alan at?
the permits and fees conditions, the typical
Yeah,
one, and then
yeah.
if you want to do, like you mentioned, no rentals, that's another.
Yeah.
Let me, my concern is, and again, I'm the last person to say this because I don't look at precedents a whole lot, but this would set a precedent that I'm not sure I'm willing to do.
Well, before you say
So
that,
let me finish, just, the idea, we, for instance, when we, as you know, we build hotels a lot. And we have condo hotels. And we have hotels that say you cannot have a full kitchen, a kitchen being defined solely as having an oven, nothing else. That's it. There are no electrical requirements. I never heard that before, so I'm not gonna even address that. Solely having an oven, and that's how it works. Otherwise, you end up with people living in hotel, I mean, that's my problem. It's the precedent. I like the project, I sympathize. I just don't want to set a precedent of people coming in and say, well, you gave these, and there was no reason, there was no hardship, you just felt it was sympathetic and you want to give them, and they weren't willing to do away with the oven. So I'm gonna support staff on this, just for that reason only, because I don't want to see a ton of everybody in the world coming in now say, wanting another kitchen, when I agree that's not the thing. When it's very simple, you can cook on a stovetop. You get a 2-burner, 3-burner, 4-burner stove, you can cook on that. You just can't bake something or broil it, I guess.
I think based on that, we're forcing people to make decisions to just install ovens without permits and things like that. I think that's the path we would go down. So, like I said, I recommend that we do it.
Let's see where we are. Let's see where we have a motion and a,
Well, I do it with, I'd support the motion with the amendment that there's no oven.
well,
then we don't need it.
We don't vote on it.
I'm sorry?
We don't need a,
We don't need a vote if there's no oven.
if there's no oven.
So what your second would be supporting allowing an oven.
No, I'm not allowing it.
Okay, so, all right, so we have
I have
a
a question
motion.
for Mr. Bailey.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Mr. Bailey. Sure. Is it too late for the applicant to withdraw this application?
No?
You have to decide where you are. You can count heads. And it's not too late for you to simply withdraw your application, withdraw the oven, go and get your building permit. Or you can go ahead and see what happens in terms of a vote. As I said before, I would prefer not to deny this. And so I can't find it in my nature, because I'm a lawyer, to do what everybody else, or what some people would like to do, which is to say, because it's a good thing, we'll go along with it. But I'll leave it up to you. If you want to withdraw, you have a chance to withdraw it right now and just walk out. Change your plan, take the oven out, move on. Or you can roll the dice.
I have a question about like that option. Like, if we have that option from the beginning to do it that way without, what would be the reason for a variance?
You wouldn't be here.
Because you asked for an
You'll
oven.
be
Yeah,
done.
the whole idea, we asking for an oven, so for us to withdraw, I don't understand, like, what the benefit of that.
Let me just, the question is, without an oven, you meet code.
Yes.
With an oven, you have to come in front of us. I'm just looking around, I'm listening around, and you're not gonna be real successful at that, is my guess.
So if
but,
we were to submit for permit and there is a denial on this, does that mean we wouldn't get approved for permit if we
No,
move
you
forward
just
with a
take, all you just
cooktop?
take the oven out.
I think what they're just saying is
So
don't put a
they-
cloud on anything.
They
don't-
could go forward with the building code submittal regardless of the
Yeah,
outcome
even
of
if we vote,
today.
even if we vote no, you can just take the oven out and go for a permit.
And a denial
We're not-
is-
we're not- it would not involve that.
Yeah, so
It
no
just says
decision,
oven, that's it.
no decision today, whether they withdraw or deny would
Or
impact
even
them.
if we vote, it's the same thing, same result. You can still go, take the oven out and go for a permit.
Yeah, so I guess,
I think the whole application was about the oven, and if I may say something, I come from Egypt where, you know, a third world country, and laws there have controlled people what to do and what not to do. And I love that here you have a voice and you have a second chance to come and for people to make sense of a code that is objecting with something, or, you know, like, does that make sense to people, you know? And that's why, you know, most people, I was talking about that, they're like, you know, they go the wrong route. As Mr. Cliff said, you know, it would be people like doing an oven illegally or something, which is, that's not something we're trying to do.
Then you'd
We're
be
like-
dealing with that man at the end of the corner here.
no, but what I'm saying is like, that's not our intention, that's not what
understand.
we're here for, but we love that there's a process here to do the right things.
We got it. So, do you want to withdraw your application, or we can vote? It's just the same result.
You want just, can we defer it for 60 days and?
No, because it's the same, it's the one issue thing.
I just have a question. If you withdraw, do you know the path that you're going to take to try to redo it? Sure. Are you comfortable with that, and do you know what that is?
yeah, I guess if we withdraw or if you deny, we would have to just do the stovetop.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm hearing,
Correct.
and avoid
And
the
you have an
second
oven very close by. Right downstairs.
Can we
Yeah, I
have
guess-
a promise from the zoning that when we submit something looking like a kitchen, it wouldn't be like, that looked like a kitchen, and the,
You will not have that problem if you don't have it.
Well,
no, we're not gonna
'Cause
put
we-
an oven
I
if
mean-
you guys
Because he
deny
said
it,
about
but
the
what I'm
cabinet,
saying.
because he said about the
So
cabinets,
we've
whatever,
got,
whoever said that to you.
we've got a number of cases today. I think we've,
Well, can we make a motion where he can, like, can we make Vince's motion so they can leave here and have confidence that they can build this?
Rich's
I know
motion,
we're told that we don't need to do that, but are we allowed to do that so they can leave here thinking they can have their plans, they're approved by us to go put in
Yes.
the permit without a stove, without an oven?
They could have a stovetop,
Yes, so we can make that, so I make that motion, okay?
Yeah,
I'll
we would love that.
I'll second that.
Yeah, okay?
all right,
There you go.
let me understand. The motion is, if they're not gonna put a stovetop in, we don't need a motion, but we're gonna do it. So, we have the motion is to deny the plans that were given,
We're gonna approve the plans
minus an oven.
minus an oven.
And meet all permits.
Yes,
We
yeah.
won't-
Appreciate that.
Yes, you wanna-
And are we adding the condition on the future rental? Because I think that
Yes.
provides protection for the community.
Yeah, we need to add that.
That's not really,
I,
That's really not, so we're running, what we're running into, and I know what the board's trying to accomplish, but there's a certain question that's been presented to the board. It's kind of it's an up-down. The question, and I understand what Mr. Gephardt's trying to do, and I sympathize with it, but there's a mechanical issue here. We have a certain question that's been applied for, and it doesn't, a no vote on that question does not preclude them from taking their as-of-right use for the property, which is the ADU with no oven in it.
I'm not hearing that they feel
We don't have,
confident
we've
in
got a
that.
procedural lockup here. The question is simply not before the board. It doesn't exist. We can't act on things haven't applied for.
You could,
It could be, you could take applied for questions and add conditions to approvals, but this is not even an applied for request.
We're often faced with Can I build an 8-foot fence and we tell them no, a 6-foot fence? Can I build a 20-foot pool and we say an 18-foot pool? All we're doing is taking what they're asking and we're taking something off of it, just like a fence, a pool, a wall, making a room smaller. That's all we're saying here, is we're just,
Okay.
I just can't agree with that.
We're losing control. Hold on, one at a time. If I understand this correctly, and Ms. Gabriel, your motion is that we
Approval,
approve
yeah.
the minus an oven.
limited to a cooktop that does not exceed 120 volts. Because he said it was the 3-prong 220 was Mr. Bailey's threshold. So if 220 is the threshold, it cannot exceed 120 volts,
The voltage thing,
That's what Mr. Bailey said in the beginning.
that's a code enforcement issue, that's what they would look for.
Yeah, that's not.
That's.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Gephardt to approve this application minus an oven and get all building permits. You have to follow through that, get your building permits. Do I have a second to that? I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You're approved.
Thank you
Minus
so
an
much.
oven. Minus an oven. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just nays.
Nay.
Okay. Okay, now we got it. 6-1. Thank you.
so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This is the longest oven conversation I've ever had.
We agree.
Yeah, you too. Okay. Mr. Bailey.
All right, hold on, sorry.
Next up, we got somebody that wants to talk about an iron.
Sorry, I wasn't. We can only talk so much.
So the next case is a case where we have basically a type 2 use and a variance, a related variance. So they're basically two separate cases, but one project. So I'm going to give one presentation for both the type 2 use and the variance. And the people can come up and speak regarding both of those at the same time. You don't have to be separating anything. That we'll need at the end, though, is separate motions. Because two different cases, it's fine. It'll be, you would make a motion on the type 2 use and then separately from the variance, yay or nay, yay or nay. Okay.
Read the case.
All right. So this is case number TY2 2312 and VAR 2319. This is Florida Professional Funding, LLC. Request of the type 2 use to allow an indoor-outdoor kennel, veterinary clinic, and meeting hall community assembly facility in the RA zone for the property located at 7462nd Terrace North in unincorporated Pinellas Park. Also includes the following variance being requested for the RA zone property. The variance, number one, a variance to allow a dog kennel having an 18-foot side setbacks for 50 feet is normally required when adjacent to a residential zone. And two, a variance to allow a modification to an existing building for use as a future cat enclosure having a 0.7-foot rear setback where 20 feet is normally required and a 0.7-foot and 3.5-foot side setbacks. So one side you got 0.7, the other side you got 3.5, where 15 feet is normally required. Recommendation is conditional approval on both the types of use and the variances. Some more information on this. History, the subject property previously received special exceptions for a place of worship with accessory kindergarten and preschool use back in '98 and '06. The existing structures on the property consist of 2 block buildings, a storage shed, a full and half-size basketball court, a racquetball court, and other accessory structures that would be used for the proposed redevelopment. The applicant intends to repurpose and utilize existing buildings on site for their business operations as an animal rescue facility. No additional structures are being proposed. The setback variances themselves for proposed kennel are being requested for existing block building located in the northwest portion of subject property. The code requires structures housing dogs and exercise areas to be at least 50 feet from a residential district. This particular building is constructed with 12-foot tall solid concrete walls and be soundproofed. The code requires soundproofing. And in this case, you do have residential zoning districts around it, but on one side is a very large, I think 80-foot wide, association-owned, basically green space area. On the other side is Joe's Creek. It's really it's not a place where it can be built on in the future. It's preservation area type things. And it's also like a recreation open space ball field on the other side. So it's really not close impacts there. The other setback being requested for the existing racquetball courts. There's a racquetball court that's associated with the school. This racquetball court was built prior to the code being established. That's why it's so close to property lines. So what they want to do is take that building and repurpose it for a cat enclosure, a cat not really a cat kennel, whatever you want to call it, cats in there. So because it's such a large, substantial modification from a racquetball court, no, it's not expanding, it's a big modification. It necessitates, it triggers the request or the necessity for a variance because it's so close to the property lines. So it's the staff's opinion or the Development Review Committee that decided to use some variance request for the proposed animal facility would recommend the conditions, which is, hours of operation as submitted by the applicant. And all specific use standards regarding kennels is quite a lot. You have to have, soundproofing, things like that. Basically would make it more an appropriate use and utilizing only existing structures, so they wouldn't be building any new structures that would impact anything. So for those reasons, staff recommends approval for both cases. That's kind of long-winded, so if you have any questions.
Is the applicant come forward, please? While he is coming forward, is there anyone here today wishing to speak in objection to this? Seeing one, okay. Present your case.
Hi, thank you, everybody, for listening to us today, and we're excited to be here.
Name and address, please.
I'm sorry, Joel Schachter, home address 19605 Autumn Pine Court, Lutz, Florida 33558.
I'm Kimmy Chandler. I'm actually the founder of Fluff, and I live in Seminole at 11761 83rd Avenue.
Thank you.
Kind of in the middle there, if you would, please.
Sure. We're here to talk about the property 7400 62nd Terrace North, property that has been vacant and for about 4 years now. And we're working with Fluff Animal Rescue. We think it's a great cause. It's a 501c3 organization that does amazing work for animals and saves animals. This is not, I have something I can put up here at the appropriate time, but kind of explains what this is not and what this is. So this is not a barking kennel. This is a safe place to rehabilitate pets and get them into loving, caring homes. They've saved 2,500 animals to date. This is not a for-profit venture, a money-making venture, or anything like that. This is an organization that really cares about animals and does great work and is donor funded. This is not taxpayer dollars, anything like that. I can answer, there's a lot of technical details I'm happy to answer.
Where do they do
anything.
it now?
What's that?
Where do they do it now?
So currently we operate a thrift store, and it is at 9400 Seminole Boulevard. And we lease that property. We have a landlord who actually wrote a letter of recommendation when we were onboarding this process because, we've lived there for 3 years. It's an 8,000 square foot building, and we take about 1,800 square foot of that as a rescue resource center. So I will say that we have over 100 animals in rescue. Rescue is not a shelter. I need to make that differentiation because I think when people think animal rescue, they think like animal services. You walk in and it's just chaos. And that is what we are pulling from. We take animals from the chaos and we bring them into a home, one-on-one socialization training environment. We have people on staff who are trainers. We have people on our board of directors that their family owns vet clinics. So we have a lot of advisors. We work very closely with Pinellas County Animal Services. We pull from over 40 shelters in the state of Florida. So I basically wanted to state that we are a rescue where 90% of our animals reside in foster homes around, the Tampa Bay area. So the other 10% need help. And when I say that, they're either mothers with puppies. We do have a few fosters, myself, and I have another in the audience who will take a mother with puppies. But that's a tough row to hoe. So we are planning a maternity ward where the animals live inside and have limited access to go outside, potty, and that sort of thing. But it's a safe environment where we can have mamas raise their puppies. The other...
Does that answer?
Yeah, that tells you kind of where we're at. And it's right now, our hardship is we also rely on private veterinarians. And if any of you have animals, you know the cost of a private veterinarian. So our goal is to have an in-house veterinarian, an in-house clinic where we can actually be a resource to other rescues. Our biggest challenge as a rescue is finding low-cost, high-volume, because we'll pull in 20, 30 animals at one time, and then we'll send them straight out to foster, or the ones that need special care or training or anything like that will stay with us. And so, you know, this isn't something where we're looking at building a shelter. We're looking at having a maximum of 20 dogs in a kennel situation. That doesn't mean it's always going to be full, but we are looking at one-on-one, you know, people working one-on-one with these animals to get them ready to move them to, you know, their future home. This isn't a sanctuary where animals are going to live forever. We're just sort of a
Let
halfway
me
house.
ask this question.
Sure.
And I just need a yes or no.
Okay, sorry.
As far as all these, we've had these kind of cases similar. As far as understanding what's permitted and for kennels, veterinary clinics, meetings, you can meet all of these standards?
Yes, sir.
That I assume the state or county or whatever?
Yes, sir.
So you do meet all of those?
Yes.
I mean, you don't have too many dogs or too many cats, if that's even in there, right? So, but you
Right.
can meet these standards?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
And how long have you guys been in business?
We became a nonprofit in 2016. It's out of my home. So, yeah, 2013 is when we actually started rescuing, and it was a family operation, but became a legitimate nonprofit since 2016.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions?
Mr. Bailey, we're doing the use hearing right now.
Use and the
There'll
variances.
be two hearings.
No, same, you're hearing
All in
both,
one?
you're hearing all at one time, just
The
gotta have two
reason I ask
different
is because
votes.
she mentioned a hardship,
Yeah.
which doesn't have anything to do with the use, it has to do with the variance.
So the board has a discretion, if you want to break them up into two different discussions, we can do that. But it will be at least has to be two separate votes, because it's two different parts of the code.
Thank you.
So now I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the staff report? Have you seen this? The
Yes.
criteria and what the staff responded to each of the criteria? Do you adopt that as your own?
Yes.
You agree with what the staff has said in
Yes.
terms of explaining how you meet the criteria?
Yes.
Yes.
So if we said at finding of fact that these things were the facts, you would agree with that?
Correct.
Okay.
Joel, I'm going to call you Joel because I'm
Sure.
just going to butcher that
Absolutely.
last name.
Yeah,
but
no worries.
Your role, again, I may have missed it.
I'm
with
the property owner at
Gotcha.
this time, yes.
Okay.
And you know, we've had a variety of, it's a long story behind the property. I don't think that's necessary to go into, but
You probably heard it in another.
yeah, trying to do something positive with this property. I, let's say, inherited the property from a bad situation with the previous owner. And so, you know, if anyone has seen pictures from a couple years ago, the property looks completely different. I've put a lot of time, effort, dollars into improving it. I know that sometimes, you know, various homeless people go back there. We're happy to turn this into something positive and yeah.
And I'm just gonna ask, I'm sure all those people back there are heavily in support of all this, and you're gonna come up and say how wonderful this organization is, and,
They just
you know,
raise their
how, you know, they're doing great for the community and things like that.
Thank you.
We'd like to put a stove in.
What?
A stove.
No
No,
stove.
no stove.
Oh,
No
okay.
stove.
No oven.
Stove,
thank God.
So we're not gonna-
Well, dog food's getting pretty exotic these days.
No stove.
Yeah.
I don't even cook at home.
Any other questions for the? No. Okay, thank you, we're good. At this point is where we ask for supporters of this application. If you can just, if anybody wants to, you're certainly welcome to speak on behalf, but only if you can add something substantive to the code. It tells us why the code should do this. If you're just here to support, I could do that by a show of hands. So if anybody, if you're here just who's supporting this, would raise their hands, please. Okay, now, that said, if anybody wants to come up and add something substantial to this, to add to his presentation, other than you like animals, you
Let me
can
say
do
one
this.
other thing that this has been a really proactive process, and I know the standard letter went out from
Yeah.
Pinellas County, but in addition, as an example of kind of the organization they are, Kimmy put together 3 separate town hall meetings, sponsored 3.
We got that.
Okay, and just, so it's been proactive, and the support from talking to people has been awesome. It's been
Okay, thank you.
overwhelmingly positive.
All right. That said, does somebody,
Step back.
somebody have some
You'd like to-
substantial to add? Please come forward. Give us your name and address.
We don't want you to feel like you can't.
My name is Lori Elmer. I live at 13011 Hibiscus Avenue in Seminole. And my husband's a veterinarian who built an animal hospital, and I know when he was going through the process, one of the biggest concerns from the neighborhood was noise, because they did have a boarding facility, and, you know, there were going to be dogs. It's an animal hospital. And I've attended some of the town hall meetings, and one of the concerns that was raised by the community was noise. So I just wanted to say and just stress that that is really not going to be an issue, because all of these animals are being supervised. In this type of a setting, especially with the animals that are already dealing with some issues, they need to keep the sound levels low. They need to keep barking at a minimum, because excessive barking can actually cause more stress for the animals that are in their care. So these animals are going to be supervised all the time. It's not like they're just going to be out running around. They're not going to be barking. I guarantee you, the dogs in a neighborhood will probably be louder than the dogs at this facility. So I just wanted to stress that these dogs are going to be supervised, and at nighttime they're all going to be inside. They're not going to be outside all night long barking. So
Is there a time that, I mean, can we say, okay, these dogs will all be inside by 6, 7?
there is
It's
a
in
time.
here.
8 p.m.
Yeah, it's in here.
I'd like to add that to a condition.
And it's my understanding
And in the
too-
morning?
Oh, morning? What time in the morning?
It's in here too, somewhere.
Out, but between 7 and 8 for supervised potty breaks.
Right.
I didn't get that.
So between 7 and 8 a.m. they'll be going out for supervised potty breaks.
In the morning?
In the morning,
Okay, 7 a.m. in the morning.
right. But I guess that my point is that these dogs are not going to just be out unsupervised. They'll always be supervised. There'll be somebody on site overnight most of the time as well. So these are dogs that they're getting a lot of one-on-one care. Again, it's not like a typical kennel setting, whether it's somebody who's breeding or somebody that's just housing a lot of animals where they're kind of out in their runs left to their own devices. These are dogs that are going to be supervised. Somebody's always going to have an eyeball on them, so it makes a huge difference.
I have a question. I've heard it, when you say one-on-one care and stuff, what are they being cared for?
So most of the animals that are being handled through Fluff Animal Rescue are in a foster setting, so they're actually living in a private home. The animals that will be on site at this facility are going to be animals that are getting medical care. They're there because they have a medical issue and they don't want to put them out into a foster setting until those medical issues are taken care of. As Kimmy stated, it could be a pregnant mom or a mom that's whelping, so she has puppies, so they don't want to send those out until those puppies are old enough to go into that setting, have had vaccines, so that they're going out into the community in a healthful way. Or it may be an animal that has a behavior challenge. They're working with a trainer, so that trainer's there working with them one-on-one every day. It might be a dog that has a lot of anxiety, or they might have some reactivity, or it might just be a dog that just really needs a lot of leash training. You know what I mean? But it's a dog that's going to be getting one-on-one care or one-on-one attention with one of the trainers that works with Fluff to get them to a place where they can be put in a foster family without that foster family having to do all that work, because it's a lot to ask. Foster families providing day-to-day care, but so a lot of the animals coming into Fluff Animal Rescue are coming from a situation where they've been in a shelter, and it can take sometimes a little bit of time for those dogs to decompress and get back to normal, because a shelter setting is very stressful for a dog, and if they've been there for any length of time, sometimes they just need a little bit of decompression time before they're going to do well in a foster setting. So it also gives Fluff a lot of time to evaluate that pet, if there are any concerns, if they have any concerns about potential aggression or anything like that. It's also an evaluation time frame too. So if that animal does need further, a bigger look from one of their trainers, they're able to do that. So again, this is not a space where they're just going to be housing animals. It's a transition for animals coming from a situation to be evaluated before they're placed in foster care. So hopefully that sort of clarifies, and I hope that addresses some of
No,
the.
that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on behalf of this and has new information to give us? Okay, that said, let's hear from the opponents, please. If you have any objectors, please come forward, give us your name, your address, and tell us.
Hello. My name is Deborah Teams. My address is 7361 62nd Avenue North. I live directly behind where they're proposing to put the kennels and that. I was voluntold last night with my association to visit this morning, so I haven't had a whole lot to look into the purpose of the building and that. Some of the concerns that my neighbors have, I would like to address today, and maybe that's something we can clarify. But it is a great cause, I do want to say that. I love animals. I'm a special education teacher, 15 years, I totally get it.
Don't trust it.
Right, thank you. But it's facts over feelings, and right now we're looking at the variances to be able to implement that. And those were some of the concerns that I wanted to look at. The impacts of the community and future zoning if this is allowed. It was said that the surrounding property was owned by the associations for the condos, and I just wanted to clarify, our unit is not owned, we're privately owned, so we own the section of grass that their fence lines up with, and it's about 15 feet from our back door. I do have a picture to share, and then I also do have copies from a letter from a neighbor who spoke with representatives from the staff on Monday when they came out to visit. Before that, Village at Bonnie Bay, we had never received notices on the door. We had never gotten invites to any of the town hall meetings. I'm just learning of that. They did come out Monday and hand out business cards and greet some of the people that were outside, but I was home and there was no knock on the door, so that was the first that I had heard of it.
Ma'am, while you're taking a break, just to let you know, any items, just make sure you've got copies for yourself, because anything you give to the board or the clerk, the county keeps for the record.
Yep, and I just took this from our security camera, so you guys can see how close it really is, because
You can put it right on the logo.
What was
The
that?
logo right there.
Flip it around.
Sure.
Flip it around, there you go.
Okay,
You could hand me your letters.
sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was the letter that you guys sent us, was the notice that we received that this was even happening. So I haven't really had a whole lot of time to look into.
I just want to make that point clear, because you said something that, but you did get notice from the county.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
important. Thank you.
Yeah, the letter says it was mailed out on the
I got it.
23rd, but we got it like
Thank
2
you. Just
weeks
wanna-
ago, yeah.
I want to clarify that.
So, and as you guys know with the zoning, but yes, it is very wide, but it's narrow. So square footage wise, it is very large, but the area that they're looking at putting the kennels and the cat enclosure is backed up into a V between our complexes. So it'd be very close. Some of the things that people have asked me to ask is, we know that it's zoned for residential and agriculture with livestock, but is it zoned for animals?
This would allow that.
Okay, through a variance or through, is
Type
it?
2 use.
Type 2 use? The setback is close to homes, and there's a lot of other property. Could it be moved somewhere else so we didn't have to do the variance? That's just a statement more than a question that
So-
you guys need to answer, because
Do
that's
you-
what we're here to look at.
The kennel itself is the building that's in the back, way back in the back. It's not near a house. It's 148 feet, closest house. The cattery, the cat enclosure is
Right.
close. That's probably
Yes.
what you're talking about with that picture.
We're in the corner, I can actually look at
The
that.
cat enclosure. The kennel itself.
Okay,
If
so
you'd
that's
like
not
to
gonna
see
be
a
back by
map,
the
I can-
basketball courts or by the tennis courts? That's gonna be
No,
on the
it's-
opposite side?
It's way up there at the storage building, way up in the northwest corner.
That's right.
Across from the entrance?
Yeah, Ryan, put up a map, please. Yes, you see it where it says garage? That's the
Yes.
kennel.
Okay,
You
so the
see,
kennel's
there's
gonna
an
be over
80-foot
there.
wide association-owned buffer with trees. And then back down here at the bottom, you see that the concrete thing down there, and you can barely see it now, that's the kennel, the cattery,
Okay,
cat enclosure, where it says, yeah, down there.
Catio.
And that V you were talking about,
okay, yes. and
that's
right
the
where-
racquetball court.
Let me move that so everybody can see that. Okay, so where
Further down,
yes,
yeah,
right here.
no, go down to your right, right,
Asphalt.
it says concrete, C-O-N-C.
C.
Oh,
Right
I'm
there.
so sorry, right here, yes.
That's the
Yep, and then this
racquetball
is-
court that exists now would be repurposed. It wouldn't be enlarged or anything like that. It'd be repurposed as a cat enclosure. That's what's so close to, I think, your property. But way up there where it says garage, that 49.9 foot wide building in the very other opposite corner, way up there, further, that's the kennel.
Okay, yes, and I'm familiar. This
Yeah.
is, okay. We thought it was going to be built back here on the asphalt along the
No.
property line and that wouldn't be the 50-foot.
But it's not.
Okay,
No.
correct. So I guess there's nothing else that I can say other than my neighbors did have a lot of concerns, and even with now knowing that the dog kennel itself is going to be moved, that we would still like to ask for a continuance, so that way we can research, get community input along ours, because ours weren't included until Monday, and also look at some of the DRC notes and get some clarifications on things like the drainage or the care. It was heard on our cameras when I reviewed them meeting with my neighbors that their plan for keeping the dogs quiet is to play music, have somebody there overnight, feed them the equivalent of a turkey dinner with some type of medicine in it. But is that going to be sustainable and long-term? Like those kind of things are things that I would like to look more into. I think you go, it's on camera. I took it directly from camera.
Hey, please,
No,
please.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes,
please.
about, my neighbor asked how they're gonna keep the barking down, and that was the response. So, like I'm saying, we're just learning about all this and piecing together what we can. The fact is, it doesn't need to be there, because it does, if there's zoning and it allows it. It's the permits that might have been done, and we just wanna make sure that whatever is done is gonna be fulfilled when it comes to the drainage and.
Let me jump in here now. You're talking to the wrong board here.
Right,
What
I know,
happens-
that's why I
what
said, that's why we're
happens
asking
here-
for a continuance.
No.
Okay,
What happens here today has nothing to do with the permit. That will go through a permitting process with the county, and they will deal with drainage, they'll deal with all that sort of thing. That's a condition of, if this were to be approved today, that is one of the conditions. They have to go through a full site plan with the city and make sure all of those things will be met.
Right.
So there's that. The project was properly noticed, so therefore I don't see any reason for a continuance. You've had ample time, you just didn't do it.
right.
So that's my own opinion. I will ask the other board members, obviously, but that's going to be my opinion.
From
So,
you guys, yeah.
did you have anything else? We can run a little bit. Could we? Yeah.
So things about like the health and safety, those are things that we would have had to look at when it came to the permit side before they received that? Okay. Well, I guess there's not much else we can do about it then.
I would like to point out that one of the conditions is that all the specific use standards pertaining to kennels, veterinary clinics, and meeting halls, community assemblies, will be met. So it's been addressed.
Okay. And I do feel more secure knowing that it was in a different location than what some of the other neighbors in the other complex told us. Because that was part of the confusion too. It was originally told us it was a doggy daycare, so like the preschool, we thought it was gonna close at 6 or 7. And then we hear it's a rescue, and then we hear somebody staying overnight, and then it just kept evolving into, let me look into this, because what are we getting ourselves into? We all have hearts and love animals, and it really stinks for me because I'm highly allergic to all of them, and the animals love me. So I can't even pet them or be around them, but you know, I do love animals, and it's not about the cause or
We
the mission.
understand.
I'm all for it. It was, you know, the health and the safety
We
of them
understand.
being so
And
close.
we've added some conditions too, but,
Appreciate it.
okay, thank you.
I guess
Is
that's
there
it.
anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this? Would the applicant please come forward with any rebuttal? You cannot, no new information here, just tell us if you have any comments about what your objector said.
I think maybe the biggest point that was brought up was maybe just some misconceptions. And the great thing about this organization and Kimmy is, and this is her livelihood, or their life and their passion, and she's accessible. This is, if there is an issue, this is not meant to be, a detriment to anyone in the neighborhood. This is meant to be a great thing, and there's someone to talk to. It's not call someone out of state in the corporate office and, maybe your concern gets addressed. But we've also put a lot of time, thought, and effort into where the placement of the, various components would rest. And again, there was some misconception there, but it's very well thought out.
Okay.
Double, fence, landscaping, et cetera. Just, we've been very proactive on it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
with that said, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'm going to start with a question.
Mr. Bailey, are these the hours?
We read out loud what
in
we're
the
talking about.
conditions? I'm going to read them into the conditions.
You could just-
That's what I wanted to make sure
thought
that
it
that's
was
what
his
we're talking
question.
about.
I've got a question before we even get to that point. The objector asked for a continuance, which I opined on. Is that something we need to vote on because they asked for it?
Well, you can basically call the question and see if any of the members wish to make a motion for a continuance based on that request. If there's no motion made,
Does anyone-
you can't demand a motion from the board. They can request one.
Does anyone wish to make that request? Seeing none.
No reason to do that.
Seeing none, we'll move on now. Okay, questions, board,
Well,
comments?
my comments are, I often take into consideration, the recommendations that we have as being, substantially beneficial to our decision-making. I listened to the lady that spoke in opposition to this. She appeared that once she heard more of the information that she backed off of her initial, I'm not really happy with this, when she found out where buildings were and what the plan really was, because in the void of absolute information, there's innuendo, there's, guessing, there's, speculation about what's going to happen. But today it's been brought forth by, the applicant, what is going to happen here. This lady got the opportunity to see plans. And I think when I saw her leave, she seemed a little bit better with, what was happening than when she first walked up to the podium. That was my impression, maybe not accurate, but I don't see any reason why this shouldn't move forward, because it seems like the community's in favor of it. The opposition isn't as opposed to it as when they first came here, and I would support it.
Any other comments? Spike?
I just want to say, this is an amazing document. I mean, that really, it has everything in it, and I think that maybe the opponent needs to read the whole thing too, because it really covers every aspect, from the hours to the whatever. I mean, it's a tremendous document. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm good to go forward.
I just wanted to ask real quick, the folks that are in support, by show of hands, can you show me how many of you live in the adjacent neighborhood? How many of you live in the neighborhood next to the property? Okay.
Mr. Chair. Several months back, maybe it's a little longer, that we did have a kennel application somewhat similar to this, but different in many ways, where the actual animal drop-off and pickup was, a home was much closer to where, it was very close to where the dogs were kept overnight, so on and so forth. It was soundproofed, and we did agree to support that as well. But this is where the animals won't be, is much further away from residences. So I'm in support of this.
So unless there's no comments, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I'd like to make a
Sir,
motion. Yep.
just on each, so we need a motion on each case.
We got it. We'll start with.
I just so.
And let's start with, this will be for the type 2,
2312.
2312.
Yep, based on the findings presented here today and in the information packet submitted prior to the meeting, and the staff recommendation, and as a proud owner of 2 rescues, I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
Would you accept a clarification on condition 2, that the hours are public operations 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., outdoor activities 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and controlled outdoor access for potty purposes only 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.?
Yeah, we'll add the presented
Yep.
operational timeframe to the conditions to validate the conditions a little further.
Okay, I'll second.
Any more comments? I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous, thank you.
So do we gotta do both
Gotta do a
of them, right?
second
We gotta
one,
do
right?
second one, right?
Second one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second one.
We have the second, part 2.
So we got half of the pie yet.
Jose,
so-
you want to go ahead with that? Continue on?
Sure. As freshly stated, based on the findings of the findings in the packet of information submitted earlier prior to the meeting and the staff conditional approval, and do we need to adjust these conditions accordingly? As will the first conditions trickle down to the second ones?
Well, I think you just restate them.
The times, okay, basically, that we submit the times to further validate the operational hours. I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now you're approved. Okay, Mr. Bailey, the next case. York,
Next would be presentation by the county attorney.
So at staff's request and at the, also the request of my boss,
want I have another case?
we're doing,
Oh, we have also-
we're on to the sunshine law stuff.
Sunshine
which
law
I
thing.
can
No, that's the,
look
That's
into.
this, oh, I got
yeah,
it.
the backside.
All right, well, let's let them clear out here, and then we can deal with our business.
Sure.
For the records. I'm a dog fan.
That's not the one I was,
I thought you were just gonna say I'm a dog.
it's the wrong.
I lost the sunshine
All
law.
right, Johnny.
Yeah, if y'all could please take everything outside, we have to continue our meeting here, and I appreciate it, thank you.
While they're clearing out, I'm talking to the fellow behind the wall. I'm looking for a document titled Florida's Government in the Sunshine. That should be in the packet.
I got one. You got mine?
And then there's a PowerPoint after that. He had thrown up the PowerPoint and just wasn't going to lead with that. I know the board has it somewhere in their packet anyway,
It was-
so.
Yeah, we got it.
We got it.
It's the
We
same
can-
thing.
It's the one paperclip, mine was paperclip.
Right, yeah, we can roll, whenever y'all want to roll, so.
We got it.
Okay, it's not a big deal because this is just for the board anyway, so as long as you've got copies,
We got it.
So Florida's Sunshine Law is based on it comes from Chapter 286 Florida statutes. Creates a right of public access to meetings of all decision-making government bodies. Applies to official meetings and work sessions of state and local government bodies, as well as advisory boards and private agencies performing public functions. It does not apply to staff meetings or fact-finding only boards with no decision-making or recommending authority, but it would apply, of course, to this board. Again, I'm not gonna hit every note of this, but I'm gonna hit the highlights. So I'll skip over notice, pretty well versed in that. Public participation, one thing that changed in the 20-teens is court cases and statutory amendments. It didn't used to be that there was an absolute right to be heard. It used to be that, there was notice and you could come and show up, but now in all of these Sunshine Law meetings, and it's been an issue with some other boards it was a surprise to them, the public does have a right to be heard. So where it would come up in this board is, where they say, do you have anything new to say, or you're all saying the same thing like today, do you all like dogs? And that was fine, what was done today. But if someone had something new to say, which the board handled it perfectly, everyone always has the right to come to the podium. If they're being redundant, the board has the right to tell them they're being redundant. But everyone always has a right to stand in that spot, otherwise we're in violation of the Florida statute that followed a court case. So just wanted to bring that up. Minutes, not the board's issue. Communications between board members. No board member is authorized to discuss official agency business that would be subject to an open meeting with any other board members outside of a public meeting. This includes meetings by phone, email, text, or social media between two or more board members, and includes inaudible discussions during a meeting. Members cannot transmit messages that they could not discuss in person through a third-party conduit. So a couple of things there. That's kind of like the inadvertent reply all email thing that can lead to the need to clean up, if it can be cleaned up, an incidental sunshine law violation. So it's my collegial request to please reply individually and not reply all. And again, also just one thing that is an issue, I know we have a new member on the board. One thing that, it's the same thing at LPA, sometimes, well, the same thing happens at LPA. The member that sits next to me will lean in. It's instinctive. They want to ask the lawyer a question. The best way to ask counsel a question is to ask the microphone. That way it goes on the record and the whole board hears the question because somebody might add on to it. A couple of times today, I didn't mean to be rude to you.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I kind of had to not
that's
not
fine.
respond because it wasn't a question that the whole board could hear. And so if you want to, usually it's just the person right next to me where that's the thing, but sometimes our seating shifts. So it's always helpful just to yell at me through the microphone and I'll respond.
Okay.
And all this is null and void after we heard the case and we've ruled, right? We can speak about it and.
To be appealed.
Right. So here's where it gets tricky is that the way the appeal process works on a writ of cert in Florida is that best practice is to not talk about it because in Florida, the judge can't redo your decision. All the judge can do is flip it back to you with guidance of here's what you did wrong last time. And so you could hear.
Let me correct that. Apparently that's a state.
That's state court. Right. State court writ of cert.
I'm going back to this.
Vertex case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Vertex case was a summary judgment. That was not a petition for writ of cert. But in the code, it's the state circuit court's your appellate body. And so that was a special case dealing with the Federal Communications Act. That was kind of a rogue case.
Okay.
Right now, ironically, we actually have, I can't talk about it much, but we have a circuit court state appeal of the last BAA decision on that same site.
Well, we
Yeah.
figured that.
That-
Three court reporters
so
in a room.
that comes back, that would be under the state court rules of, they can't change your decision, but they can tell you, you got to rehear it. So
And if we do hear it in the same, what happens then?
it can go, hopefully people work out the differences, but things can stay in a flat circle for a while until the writ of cert process is not perfect. And it's record-based, and because a judge cannot, at the state level, cannot bind you to a yes or no decision, only to a de novo hearing, it's usually boards get the hang of if the judge gives a good instructional ruling one way or the other. But I don't want to talk about this case too much more because we've got a live one out there. So
Let me give you an example. Years ago, many years ago, and Ms. White and I were on the opposite sides of this in the beginning. We had a case at Safety Harbor where there was a number of four of the members, not including me, accepted the fact that traffic was going to be an issue. The traffic. But the objectors did not have a traffic expert, whereas the applicant did. So the case was referred back to us because someone had stated from the board that they believe the neighbors. And the judge said, you can't do that. You have to have, they had an expert.
Testimony.
So the case came back to us. I believe there was a 4-3 vote against the application. The case came back to us, and they didn't bring an expert again. They were told that this was the issue. They didn't hire an expert, so it was 7-0 reversed because that was how that was. To my knowledge, I don't think we've heard in my 13, 14 years. We only had a couple, but that's the one I remember most.
And what happened with that one most likely is there's three prongs. I won't go on too much longer on this. Three prongs on a state writ of cert. First is procedural due process. Did we give people procedural and sometimes substantive due process in general? Did we follow the essential requirements of law? And the third one, which sounds like what came up in this case, is competent substantial evidence, which is what I come up with every time. And, if there's a traffic report on one side and not the other, and there's just speculation of, oh my gosh, it's going to add so much traffic, and you have maybe 20 people say it, but they don't have any math to back it up, that they can introduce into evidence and into the record. That's not good. That can't be weighted.
They can give me something, but they didn't have an expert.
Right, it's not competent substantial evidence.
okay.
And so that's what probably, I don't know the case, but that's what probably flipped that one.
That was it.
Curing a sunshine law violation can be done by rediscussing, if you can, the communication in a public meeting. That becomes very, very clumsy. I've seen boards try to do that, cure a sunshine law violation in a meeting. It usually leads to just everybody, it's a very unpleasant, uncomfortable conversation.
Skipped
So,
over number 3.
would love to get through that. Oh, penalties, yep. Knowing violation of the sunshine law is a misdemeanor of the second degree, and it does inure to the individual, which can result in up to a $500 fine or up to 60 days in jail. Where this one gets tricky is it's not only just that, but often people sometimes just inadvertently perjure themselves at the same time as they commit a sunshine law violation. Well, that expands these dramatically from $500 in 60 days to, months and years and tens of thousands. And so that's where those two become bedfellows, often incidentally, accidentally, and it's why it's better just to never hit the tripwire, because then everything pops.
Who would defend the person that did this? Was it on their own defense or?
Generally, it would, the county might be a named defendant, but you would have, when I say you, it would be appointed board member, someone who violated, would be their own, they have to go out and hire their own counsel for their own violations. If the county screwed up something procedurally, then the county would defend it, but they'd have to have their own lawyer.
Okay.
A board member would. I'm not going to go through quorums. Board members present at a meeting are required to vote on official acts that arise for a vote unless there's a conflict of interest or other ethical basis for abstaining. Failure of a member to vote does not invalidate the entire proceeding. This applies only to state, county, municipal boards. Proxy voting and secret votes are prohibited. Voting conflicts. Elected or appointed officials must disclose the conflict in advance and abstain from voting on any measure which would inure to their special private gain or loss to the officer's principal, such as your employer, a relative, or business associate. Special gain or loss can be determined by considering factors including the size of the affected class, where the gain or loss is remote or speculative, and if the vote is solely preliminary or procedural. Members can vote in relation to salary or expense. That has nothing to do with this board. The best thing to do, if you feel like you've got a conflict, please come to me and ask, and we'll talk about it, and we'll discuss it before we open the case and put it on the record. And kind of conservative about those, because generally especially if we have a pretty good quorum, you just don't want to risk a case with any kind of color of a conflict. Public record retention, I won't go through that with this board. So we're pretty good on that. If you have any questions, really, biggest thing I see with these sunshine law violations, and have worked in other jurisdictions as well, is inadvertent discussions of upcoming matters. That's really what happens. It's the ones that are immediate, even if it's not set for hearing yet. If it's being discussed in a pre-app to go to DRC, and it's something, and then I've seen email traffic fall into. That's why I got nervous about the reply all time that one time, is because it can waterfall into another discussion. And if those two email links are changed, if that happens, then there's an inadvertent violation that has to be awkwardly cleaned up in an open meeting in front of a mic, and it's just a bad feeling. So that's the one that really worries me the most as counsel for this board, and that's it. As to, I do have a summary mostly for the new member. We can put that PowerPoint is up, and Tech was nice enough to make the clicker with the sticker that says clicker on it, because I know the lawyer evidently needs some help with technical issues, so I actually know what the clicker is. Nice. So we'll click, and you've got under your authority variances, type 2 uses, otherwise known as special exceptions, administrative appeals, and nonconforming use modifications. I know most of you know what those are, and I'm going to meet separately with the new members.
Did you
so-
leave off that we're stuck with docks and things like that?
What- Yeah, we folded that into variances, but if you want to discuss those.
No, I don't. I just
Okay.
wondered. There's a variance, it's variance.
Yeah, just trying to, the one that I was going to hit, because I realized today went a little longer than maybe we all thought, was one that seems to come up a lot is the variance criteria. The special conditions are related to the land, not the property owner. The unnecessary hardship is as compared to similarly situated owners.
You got to click.
Oh, yeah, thank you. See, he's got to put a sticker on it, and I still didn't do it. Got to do everything for the attorney. Consistent with the variance needs to be consistent with the LDC and comprehensive plan. Rezoning must be deemed inappropriate and ineffective to cure the situation. Is there a detriment to the public welfare? And you cannot circumvent previous Board of County Commissioner action. So we've got a graphic here about special conditions versus unnecessary hardship. So yes, if they're specific to the land, the location of the property, the size or shape of the lot, topography, trees, waters, features, things like that. Public policies that preclude or limit action unique to the property involved and not self-created. Where it gets difficult is if the stated hardship, prospective hardship, is specific to the owner and is it's a desired amenity without without a shared or individual burden, I should say. In other words, if it's shared in common with the community as a whole, if everyone has the same problem, then you're not unique as to your hardship, or if you self-create your hardship. And there's various ways that can occur. But typically what happens with these variances, and most of this board knows this, is that it's usually the geography of the property, or we faced a unique one today that I won't go into anymore, but where the one with the oven was shared. While it was stated as a hardship, it's something that was shared in common with the community, so that's not a hardship under our code. And really the way to rectify that is to put in your minutes that, hey, we don't like this provision, and that's something that staff can consider and can be taken to the Board of County Commissioners for a proper amendment. But it needs to be amended at that level. Type 2 use special exception is a use generally authorized by the code, subject to the Board of Adjustment review and approval, to ensure it is appropriate on a particular lot. So you're just, oh, yeah, see, Glenn's an
Let me
ace.
work a clicker.
Glenn's an ace at this, and I am, maybe if I use the screen and not my book, that'll be better. You're looking at consistency with the comp plan, adequate separation of the proposed uses and structures, adequate drives, walkways, et cetera, no excessive vehicular or traffic problems created, no drainage problems, all requirements of the zoning district are to be met, and use-specific criteria, if that's applicable. It depends on the applied use. As to whether, if there's a separate section for that use, then that's where that kicks in. So, see, administrative appeals, basically, you had one of these a few months ago where any affected party aggrieved by the application of the land development code by the DRC or staff, it can appeal it to this board, and this board can decide whether or not that determination was accurate, or whether they agree with it, or whether the board wishes to reverse staff's determination. So you can either approve it or reverse it. Let's see. This one is very unique to me, at least in my experience, approval of criteria for modifications and expansions of a nonconforming use. Most counties don't really have this, and it's a kind of an interesting flex provision that allows flexibility for landowners. When a modification to a nonconforming use is proposed, the request shall be consistent with the following criteria. The proposal will not materially change the character or quality of the neighborhood. The proposal will be compatible with the land use and zoning. Oh, is it not on your screens?
No, it's not
On the screen, not in the packet.
It's not in the
okay.
packet for some reason.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
on the printer.
most of the time, you can't modify an existing nonconforming use in a lot of jurisdictions in this state. and Pinellas County allows additional flexibility. I learned that one by surprise a few months ago, and we had a case where that was allowed. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's an allowance that this county allows for the fact that you've got a lot of different uses in one place. So let's see. Quasi-judicial decision-making, this is why I read that statement at the beginning of every meeting. It's an application of existing policy to a specific situation rather than policy setting. So that's the difference, is that the cases that you hear most of the time are not policy setting, they are application of existing policy. And that's why we have that in quasi, you're not quite a court, but you're close. Must apply uniform and specific criteria. All criteria must be met. The burden of proof is initially on the applicant, shifts to the board to prove the criteria are not met. Parties are entitled to due process. Testimony must be under oath. And decisions are based on substantial competent evidence with ex parte restrictions. And this is one that if you do have someone, typically we don't ask that at this board level, but if you do have a particular member of the community come to you and kind of lobby you, please state that for the record so that everyone can hear it and bring that question up. I don't think it's been an issue with this board, but if you do have someone, you get a phone call or whatever, put it out. That way, that clears up any possible sunshine law violation and procedural violation, because then the whole board can talk about it, and that cures.
That comes in emails sometimes.
Yeah, we get emails.
Yeah. Well, if you get emails in,
We forward it.
but they usually go in, when you get emails in, that you forward them in, right? That takes care of that too. That puts it in the record. We just need to get any statements that are made to individuals into the record so that the whole board has the opportunity to respond to them. All right. And that's basically, these are criteria that we've discussed, some of them today, and have discussed regularly in meetings. What you can and cannot consider in a quasi-judicial hearing is competent substantial evidence. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but let's see. I would ask that when you make a motion, that there be, especially when we have these hot cases, make some findings of fact to basis of your motion. It makes it a lot easier to defend the board when your motion has, and this is why, based on this provision.
I think all our motions do that now. We accept the staff's finding of fact. That's how we base them if we're doing it.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I don't think we have to find any other facts, but if we do, we do, but.
There have been instances
We go
where,
against the board, we do.
that's where I was going.
No, well, we're the Board of Adjustments, and I keep.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
I mean, it
if
can
we
be a fact,
differ from what they say, if we approve a denial or something like that,
Staff,
or
from the staff.
we have that authority.
If you have like, it is all right to say based on staff's recommendation and the contents of the staff report, if you're rolling with staff. If you disagree with staff, then you need to state your own grounds based on the evidence presented, and it may be a few specifics from that evidence that
What
was
we have John
presented.
for, he's the master.
Yeah, so you sure. You've got whoever can do it, put it on the record as to what your motion is, if you're rolling with something that's not already in the record as a staff report. And let's see,
I've got another meeting here a week.
that's it.
Okay.
And I would ask, anyone who wants to contact me independently about questions, you're welcome to do so. I'm not an appointed or elected member of anything, so I don't fall under these. As long as I'm not a conduit between members, you can always talk to me
do we
and
have to
contact me.
approve the minutes?
Approve the minutes.
Okay.
Before we approve the minutes, can I ask a question about the minutes? I just want to clarify, because I was attending virtually at the last meeting. It appears to me that not only would I not be able to vote at my virtual attendance, but I probably can't even participate.
I wanted to ask for clarification on what happened last month, because when you voted against any type of Zoom participation or virtual participation, did you also preclude Mr. Duran from doing so? Because you don't have to. You could allow him to participate virtually.
We can do that?
We were kind of told otherwise.
That's
can do that?
what I understand, that's what I understood was the case. Now, if I'm wrong, then Harold can.
No, it's my understanding that a board member can appear virtually. You can,
Even though we don't allow the applicant or the,
Right, as long as the applicant can respond, in other words, as long as there's two-way communication between, as long as the applicant can respond to the commentary of the board
and
member.
then I'd like to deal with that right now.
Yeah, because I thought we were
That's-
under
It was
the,
all or nothing.
yeah.
No, it's not all or nothing.
Well,
Okay,
if-
so,
if-
yeah. So I'd like to make a motion that applicants and witnesses need to appear before us, but any board member can appear virtually.
As long as you.
Second?
It's-
Do we need a second? Do we have a
As
consensus?
the members here approve it, and yeah, so you have to vote on it every meeting. So you
Okay.
it's not just like a blanket policy.
Well, I would like to make somebody please
So
second
we're
that.
we're not amending what we originally voted on?
Well, you can clarify it. I mean,
Just
That's the
clarify.
that's what we're doing right now.
Second.
Do we vote this meeting for the next meeting or at the next meeting?
At the next
At
meeting.
the next meeting, if you had,
Prior.
if you had a board member out who wanted to
What I'd
participate.
like to do right now, and I think I can do this, I'd like to get a second on, so we are
Second.
all on the same page. We'll do it before every meeting, but right now I want to make sure everybody's on the same page with that and agreeable to that. So I have a motion,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's clear now.
But my question is why can't that just be the standing rule like our quorum amount?
We do it in every
Because the applicant has, each applicant's different, and so every applicant has generally. So applicants have to be able to individually be on notice of the fact that that policy is in place. They are not on notice of it unless we discuss it at each meeting.
Well,
That's why. So-
it's a simple thing to add in. If
Yeah, and because they can object to it.
It's a simple thing to add in, and we'll do it before the meeting. We'll
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah, why don't you add it to your speech?
Well, no, I mean,
Well,
it's
Sometimes
not
it's easier.
part of theirs, it's procedural. So I'll take care of that.
Here, John.
I got that.
Whoever it might be.
Speech sounds-
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good, Cliff. That's good. Good catch there. Good things. We have the meetings of the minutes of the last
To
meeting.
approve the minutes of last meeting?
Second.
Got a motion second on approved.
Aye.
Aye.
Any other further, meeting is
Adjourn and put on my hat.